So here we go. We're almost over with the live stream. We're glad to welcome our last guest of the day, but not the least guest, Arturo Tedeschi, computational designer. Hello, Arturo. How are you?
Hello,
Welcome back.
guys. Hello.
Hey,
Great to see you. How you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm
Energy.
fine. And I don't know. I have to say, like something like "Happy Birthday." We need to invent a new like definition for 100 parts. I don't know how to say. So anyway, congrats for this great achievement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arturo, and thank you for making time in your busy schedule for this catching back. I've been following you since the last time we talked, without disturbing too much. But I'm always impressed with the pace with which you work and the stuff that you do, and they're always so impressing to me. The last thing I've seen on your Instagram was that we gotta wait for a Domestika course soon. How
Yeah.
that happened?
Well, I basically started in 2009 by my activity started with collecting knowledge, experience, doing researches, and then sharing them with people. So learning and sharing is part of my DNA. I really cannot get rid of it. Even if time passes and then you are very busy with projects, but it's a part of my life. And I really like the way Domestika is organizing this kind of new. I don't like to call them training. Everything is based on the teacher, not on the topics. I don't know if you are familiar with Domestika
Mhm.
courses, but the nice part is everything is about the inspiration and how a specific tutor does things in a certain way. That's the thing that I really like. They don't want to do a kind of vertical teaching, direct teaching, which is you have to do parametric design like this is the rule, this is the right way to do things. It's just I do things in this way. So I really like their approach. I like the team behind the platform. And so we started this conversation about doing something for a wide, let's say, audience. And I cannot say more, but of course, everything, the my collaboration is something about parametric design. But that's, I guess, it's pretty obvious.
No,
No,
but
no.
I saw like a part of you. There are also other people that were that that were on the podcast that did a Domestika class, and they got flown to Madrid to film it. So one thing I noticed that Domestika curates a lot how the production, so that
Exactly.
it's always very professional. It's in these very nice studios. So you filmed it in Milan, or did you go to Madrid too?
It was filmed in Milano. You said right. They are very more than professional because, for example, the set is created according to suggestion by the teacher itself. So in general, you send kind of mood board or something which is, of course, related with the color palette or the kind of material that I, for example, use in my projects, and they build the set according to that. So it's very everything is really tailored around the teacher. That's amazing. And really the team is
Wow.
super professional. I filmed in Milano. They have studios in Spain, as you mentioned, also I guess in New York and South America probably. And it's amazing also the way they, let's say, organize. They have a perfect schedule. And I'm not an actor actually, because there is a part that you really have to, let's say, to act in the sense that you have a kind of script, that I wrote actually, but they're incredible in I don't know to say in coordinate all in directing like directors actually do, and I really enjoyed the experience. I guess the training will be available, I guess, in 2 or 3 months from now, more or less. I don't know exactly, but I'm really curious to see also the final cut. It was really a great experience, and as you know, guys, I come from 10 years of teaching webinars, online webinars that I organized or they were organized by other people. But it's a different game when they organize all the things. And I really enjoyed. I guess that's probably a new way to share knowledge. And
How was it different than when you organized it? What impressed you?
well, the main difference is that I don't know to say, the level of the details, the level of details, also the organization. When I do online training, I basically, let's say, I just follow the flow. It's like myself speaking with other people, so I do a lot of mistakes, of course, in terms of also layout. Sometimes I repeat myself and etc. When you have a director, when you have precise script where and everything is created in order to be really intelligible for so many people, it's a different game. It's a really a different game. Also, having a precise set that in a way set the mood of the training of the conversation is a different thing than staying just in front of a computer and speaking virtually with other people. It was like a movie in a way, really with different cuts and trying to be natural, to be really to communicate with a big audience. There are webinars courses in Domestika with more than 200,000 like viewers. So it's really
At one time or in total?
In total.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In total is a big number. They are not for free. They are paid courses, so it's a really big audience, and they are also translated in different languages. So great, really enjoyed the experience.
And one thing I was curious is it does it play a role that you have also like a big social media presence? Because again, we have had a couple of people that explained to us that they were doing the Domestika classes, and a part of being a big expert into your field, which of course you are, they also, I think, focus a lot also on your online presence. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I guess of course it's a way to expand their business, but also, I'm in a position. I wrote books, and again, I really my ambition, my aim is really reaching a wider audience, but not for narcissism. It's just because, as I said before, learning and teaching is it's a really a part of my DNA, and in order to not being repetitive, I really, there is something that I always avoid when I start something in my life. For example, I wrote books for 4 or 5 years, and then I change everything, and then I get rid of this part of my life, and I do things in a different way. Otherwise, I get bored of myself sometimes. So I need to find new ways for in this way for communicating with other people, and that was the right way to do it. I'm really happy with that.
I can understand that. I'm very similar. It's like at some point you sort of like you get bored of doing the same thing over and over again, basically, and you just want to sort of like trigger your brain to learn a new way of doing things, however frustrating that is at the beginning. So you're going back to being a beginner, sort of. And then, yeah, I totally understand that.
I remember last time we talked, what impressed me, what it stick to my mind, it was that I was asking you about your book, and I said, isn't it nowadays more logical to make something like a class, because it's more interactive, it's more like a book, it's a little bit less dynamic in order to what you do on the screen. And also you said that yes, it is, but you also want to position yourself more like a designer and designer expert instead of a teacher. Is it this way through such similar platforms a way to stay a designer? So to say, okay, I'm a designer. They ask me, so I did it. So it's more by being contacting by them. It's more like a confirmation of your expertise instead of you positioning yourself as a teacher.
Yeah, totally. As I said before, something that I really liked about the domestic experience is that there is an important part which is about, of course, the portfolio, what I have done in my life and in my professional life, but also the path, my life path, actually. So the beginning, mistakes, problems, how I overcame problems, how I built my learning path, and also inspirations, but not only in terms of design, but maybe music, something that was and is outside the discipline that influenced and influences me. So all these ingredients were and are like super important for me, and they make a difference, because it's not just about like teaching how the software works, and it's about a comprehensive vision on what leads someone to study computation and applying it to design, inventing new shapes, and trying to solve problems, or trying to achieve beauty, as I said, as I say in my Instagram, is a kind of mission of my office. So all these things that they work together and are absolutely present in the domestic training.
And I wanted to ask you, like, since the last time we talked, I remember this project which are seeing now in for Adidas in Berlin. Was that one of the craziest one and the biggest one you've done lately? Because it looks so crazy.
Yeah,
What is
it
this
is.
exactly?
Is an installation, first of all, for a store, for the Adidas flagship store in Berlin. Is one of the biggest 3D printed installation in the world. We are talking about 17 meters sculpture, 17, suspended. So it was also complex in order to install, to create, a physical model with bears the tension of these asymmetric objects. And to me, this is a new chapter of my life in terms of career or vision, if you like, because I guess that with this project, I finally, I don't know to say, overcome the vocabulary connected with computational design and in particular 3D printing. When I say that, you can easily recognize that the word of computational design and 3D printing is about using more or less the same aesthetic elements, the same vocabulary. So we are talking about patterns, grids, lattices, and in general, the 3D printing tells a story about itself. With this project, I try to create a kind of narration. I created an installation that speaks, that talks, that tells a story. So I really get rid of my vocabulary or my limitations, my attitude, creating a nice 3D printed object that looks like the 3D printed objects. There are a lot of people that they ask me, which material or technique did you use for that? They did not recognize that this is a 3D printed object. We didn't want to show off the technology. We didn't want to show off the materials, but everything was about a story. To me, it is a kind of new species of object that try to translate the power of digital art into physical objects. Every time when we are talking in this particular moment about, metaverse, NFT, and etc., and we are worried about living in a digital world, or not worried, but we are just like, we have a lot of questions about the digital realm. But I guess that digital realm is already influencing the real, the physical world. And this is, to me, is is a kind of a subliminal effect. But I totally believe that this is again, a translation of the power of digital art, computer graphics, do crazy things, but in real world. So it's a kind of opposite influence. And I said, this is, to me, this is the beginning of a new chapter, because I really want to get rid of all the vocabulary, the old vocabulary of three-dimensional lattices, diamond grids, something that you can see also behind me here. So in the background, I guess that computational design should meet a new dimension, which is more about communicating. It's more about telling stories, because everything today is about telling a story. Otherwise, we will stay trapped in the self-referential ontology of signs that are all the same. We are stuck in a way in 2006, 2007, when the first, Zaha Hadid or Ross Lovegrove or other masters, they started to apply this new vocabulary. But we are still there, and I see sometimes a lot of money invested in the same shape, same grids, same three-dimensional objects, and then we have to do something more. This crazy object, I don't know if I succeeded, of course, because everything is, in progress. I never believe to express, myself with a project or to create something perfect. To me, everything is a part of a dynamic, ongoing process, and this was just an attempt. And trust me, it was super crazy. Printing, I don't remember, they were something like 3 million cubes. They are already difficult to be modeled in a digital realm, and blend everything together, having a watertight, perfect mesh. Imagine to do it in real life. They were, I don't remember exactly, but something like 57,000 layer of printing. We use recycled materials. We used, all the FEM analysis in order to create an object which is super stable, because again, it is suspended. It's more or less 350 kilograms of material suspended. And there is a lot of science, of calculation behind it, but you don't see that. The object, it's still as static. This is something, another thing that I like to say. My objects in general, they solve the complexity in the digital space. I don't like to create objects that show screws or, again, tension, material in tension. I like to solve the complexity before, and the object, they look still in a way, without tension in material, but again, they are dynamic in terms of overall shape.
So this is like a story of the circular economy, from what I understand. It's like the fluidity that gets into objects, that gets into then bottles, and then into fibers, and then
Yes.
liquid, and then again and again and again.
Exactly.
Sort of.
Exactly. Yeah, we started from the Adidas communication around, of course, this topic, and yeah. So we basically, in terms of process, we created everything in a virtual way. We use different software to create this kind of computer graphic dynamic liquid object, and then we just freeze. Everything was like stopped. This process was like paused or stopped, and then we started to analyze it to understand how to improve the printing process. We worked, of course, with different experts and consultants in different fields. It was a work of about 4 or 5 months, and more or less 3 months of 3D printing.
Wow, it's really impressive.
No, I think it's a very. I think for the simple eye of just the people that will go into the store, will be maybe even given for granted in a way, because nowadays we're more used to see these kind of installations. But
Yeah.
if you're like a person from the field, you can understand the complexity. And how does a project like this happen? Did Adidas do like a competition, or did they come to you and say, Arturo, we know you're expert, we have this brief? Or because this is like something that I think it's a very complex thing to explain also in a brief for a competition, what exactly you want.
Well, part of the process is kind of protected by NDA, and I cannot tell everything. But
We started with NDAs.
everything. Yeah, NDAs is the answer to the 99% of questions in the world of design. Well, it was a kind of, let's call it internal competition. When I say internal, it does mean that there were myself and other people that collaborated somehow with the brand, and it was a kind of invitation. And well, we presented different proposals, and this one was accepted immediately, almost. It was I mean, the impact was I mean, the reaction was, the feedback from the client was very good since the beginning, and I do believe that they really understood this idea of really. To me, the most important part is focusing on the message, getting rid of the technology. There is a lot of technology, but it's totally hidden, and then you just see the final shape.
Yeah.
And again, the narrative, the message behind it.
Also, you don't see the joints, because I don't think they printed out this in one piece, right? So
no, they were something like 18, if I remember, 18, 19 pieces, or no, maybe more. They were 22 pieces. 22 pieces. Yeah, we worked a lot in order to hide the junction. And again, it's part of what I said before. I like to solve the tension. I don't like to have an object where you can see the stresses, the stress line, the forces that I don't know to say that they work in order to destroy your piece. I like to have something which looks really still, and just dynamic in terms of global shape. And indeed, the object is like a flow inside this three-dimensional space, of course, and then it goes around the columns, around the beams, and it's really the final effect is incredible, I have to say. I really, when I was there, I remember when we do the lifting, where we were installing, I was also kind of scary, because it was a pretty huge object. to be suspended, and it was also, the proving ground of a methodology and a process that we tested over the years, actually.
Well, then when we have to go to Berlin, Georgi, to take a look at it.
Definitely, it's a highlight now for the city.
Yeah, looks really impressive. It's really beautiful.
Thank you guys.
And you've been also lately in the US. This is actually one thing that really I couldn't keep myself from texting you, because I really like New York,
Yeah.
and this year hopefully I'll manage to go visit myself.
Cool.
You went there for lectures, university. What was going on there?
I was there for a public speech and 3 days workshop at Parsons Schools of Design and Architecture. The nice part is that this lecture and also workshop was scheduled for 2020, March 2020, and it was cancelled for obvious reasons. And I was really sad, because we planned that experience over the months. I was really thrilled to go there. Parsons is an amazing school, and so with COVID, was not possible to do the training and lecture again. And yeah, after 2 years, more or less, we finally made it. And to me, it is a kind of way to, I don't know to say, to close this kind of black hole and starting from scratch. It's a kind of a new birth, and I really enjoyed for this reason. I had a class with amazing students, I have to say, super curious, with like brilliant conversations and questions. We really enjoyed. I also celebrated my birthday there, and was another. I mean, a lot of nice things happened during that week, and I also enjoy New York. It was not my first time there, but New York changes, constantly. It was a very beautiful experience. And again, learning and teaching, and also and doing again in person after 2 years was kind of a really thrilling emotion.
Yeah,
so that's like red thread, learning and teaching. Sorry, Georgi.
We were saying that before, that it's nice to be able to do stuff in person finally again, because
yeah,
despite the comfort you have when you go online, as we do now, right? There are certain advantages for everybody, but it's different when it would be much nicer to be able to see each other in a room, face to face. Also, there is so much more to human interaction, like body language and stuff like that, which are nice. And with all this big stuff going around, and also more and more complex work that you do because of natural evolution, are you managing to keep your office quite small, or has it grown a little bit since the last time we talked? Because I imagine that when there are such complex things, you need more support.
This is as always the the most complex question, or to be precise, solving the scalability of your office is the most important thing. I decided to stay, let's say, small, because to me it's always important. I was having a conversation with a friend a couple of days ago, and we were talking about desires and goals, aims for the future. And I always say that I want to keep to save my freedom, and also to protect the authorship of my work. and you can actually, or at least I am able to manage this if I stay small. It's difficult to say to define what small means actually, but I always think that an office should be like a human being with a head, arms, hands, and etc. So a well organized team of people. It's very important to save and keep the different roles. That's super, and sometimes it sounds trivial or easy to be done, but it's not. It's very important to protect the different spaces and responsibilities. And in general, we work with a nucleus of people. For example, one of my partner, I started working with him in 2011, more or less, and he's still here in the office. There are new guys that are coming or that they started collaborating with us, but I always avoided to put inside the office a lot of experts in different fields, because we work in automotive, sometimes in architecture or product design, industrial design. So you need different skills and knowledge in order to face all this different, when you cross disciplines. I like to use this word. When you really surf, you cross among disciplines, you need different skills and etc. So I always try to, I have a small cluster of people, and sometimes when we need to face a particular when we have to solve a specific problem, we just outsource specific skills. It worked so far, at least. Another important thing is what people they call the power of no. Sometimes you have to say no. It's very important to protect yourself, again, as an office or as an individual, because you cannot accept everything. It's not just about money or about growing and growing just for the sake of growing. It's important to have, again, specific goals, and according to that, you should say, I mean, you will be able to say yes and no in order to create, again, a story with your life, with your time. We spend as a freelancer, professional, and etc. designers, we spend probably 18 hours per day in our profession doing meetings, project, and and after, again, I have more than 10 years of career behind, and now I can actually really see, I can recognize a kind of landscape, or which is the story that I created, and I would like to do the same for the next year. So it's not only about business, but it's about keeping this kind of, I don't know to say, I call it freedom, but it expresses in a way the idea of being independent, from clients, and being independent from collaboration projects. But again, I'm repeating myself, trying to tell a story with my life.
But isn't it for you like what people would say is like would think at this point in time of your career, isn't it kind of become easy for you? Because like, I mean, of course, a part of the complexity of the project, but isn't it your brand now so strong that you don't have to take care so much about client acquisition or stuff like that, because the things that you do are so niched and complex that maybe, I don't know, how many competitors do you have? Are they so many competitors into this field?
Difficult to say. Of course, it's something that the marketing guys, they call the blue ocean. There are a few fishes in this kind of sea. So of course, it is called a blue ocean field, of course. But sometimes you can lose yourself. Just try, there are sometimes you have potential clients and they offer perspective of sometimes 3, 4, or 5 years of different projects, and sometimes they are, let's say, easy projects, easy in the sense that you can easily manage in terms of office or computation or whatever. But maybe you spend 3, 4, or 5 years without any kind of growth in terms of, again, knowledge, experience, and etc. So sometimes, so you are totally right. So I'm privileged somehow, but I always try to accept and to choose projects in terms of personal growth. So it's not easy to do this kind of decisions because we always have this kind of I don't know, we are sometimes polarized by clients and projects that they offer growth just in terms of business because it's easy.
Yeah.
But that works for a few years, and then you are out. We are also living in a world which is in constant, change. For example, I experience an acceleration of the world of computer graphics and computation over the 2 last years, and it was like fueled and powered by the lockdowns. And so the people they had the time to study more, to do exploration in their home, and etc. And so I can clearly recognize there is an explosion of different tools, artists, and new people that are able to do something that was impossible to be done 5 years ago. So you need to be constantly aware of the new tools and new methodologies out there. So if you just focus on business, you will be out in 5 years. This is also a strategic vision.
But I think that's a very important point because most businesses, no matter if they're small or really, really big, they forget that you should invest a certain higher percentage in research, development, innovation. Those words I know suck, but in that, like you say, in growth of the art or the craft or the skill that is necessary. And I think especially for small businesses, it's really hard to make that decision. Okay, am I going to take this project which gives me the stability of my business and the futureness over the next 2, 3 years or 5, 6, like you said, or am I going to say no and take the harder path, but then maybe in the long run create an edge because I keep growing and investing in myself or my small team of expertise. Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Exactly. How much time do you spend into exploring new stuff and new techniques and new technologies? And what are things that Arturo Tedeschi doesn't know about this stuff?
Well, something that changed probably in the last 3, 4 years is that I spending less time in doing algorithms. I'm not anymore, I don't know how to say, hands-on as I was in the past, because I realized that I didn't have time for new readings, exploration, research, and etc. So I radically changed my also daily routine, so I can say that in this particular moment I'm probably spending the 60% of my day in doing research. That means different things. It's not only watching YouTube videos or browsing the Instagram. There is also that part, of course, but I'm trying to meet people online or in person. I'm trying to travel. So I over the last months I'm very happy that I I had the opportunity to travel again, and I will do also in the next months, is like, again, meeting people, organizing events, attending events. Everything gets important. And again, it's important to change and not to be stick and focus on the same things. For example, in the 2 years, 2018, 2019, we organized a lot of webinars, online webinars, as I mentioned before. They were crucial for like meeting new people, also finding new business opportunities. But after 2-3 years, we really totally, let's say, we turn off that moment, and so we find new ways to explore. And I'm basically fascinated by everything which is about technology, but that has a link with art, evolution, and human beings. That's the thing that I like the most. I'm not just interested in the computer as a tool. I have a particular, let's say, love for art. And when I say art, it's not only sculptures, installation. I'm talking about music. I'm talking about photography. For example, another important thing I started doing, like I'm attending different like webinars and online, in-person courses about photography. So I'm also trying to learn new types of arts or techniques, and I try to transfer them in my work. So all these things are super important for me, and I try to I like to say I'm in the middle, in a way. I'm in between.
No, totally. I can imagine that by now also you're maybe a lot the face of the company, right? Because I guess that also that's important to have a direct contact with the clients and so on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. That's true. That's important. And also companies are changing. Everything is getting more informal, and I'm very happy about that. It's
That's true, yes.
that is one of the pros that comes also from the pandemic. I remember 5 years ago organizing a meeting with a client was something so institutional and complex and formal, and now everything is like faster and easier. And I really like the new way that are embracing a lot of also big companies.
Yeah, but also in the way that business is done together, I feel that it's getting a little more informal as well in other industries too. It's not so much, how do you say, the rules of the game, like how a meeting works and how you organize it and what the agenda looks like and whatever. Yeah. That's changing as well. It's becoming a little more like, okay, let's just do this somehow.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, Arturo, speaking of busy schedule and busy days, I don't want to take away more from your free time on Sunday. And
it was a pleasure, really a pleasure being with you in this important day for you, actually, and our event for you.
We wanted to celebrate some of the people, because 100 are a lot of people. It would be impossible to do with everyone, but it was a way to celebrate. And of course, we want to thank everyone that couldn't take part because of giving us time, and just these conversations are so important, and you can learn so much out of them. And
Yes.
we finish always on a positive note. If you can share with us maybe something that you've been enjoying reading, listening, or watching lately, or even some events that are upcoming. We were talking about events that are now being in person again. If something comes out to your mind.
Where someone asks me something like that, my mind really gets a kind of white canvas immediately. I don't know if it's it's always like that. In my mind, I have always a lot of things to say, to do, and then when you ask something like that, everything disappears. Well,
a part of the domestica class, stick around to check
I have something. Is not a super recent reading, but a book that I really loved. It's a book by Alessandro Baricco. It is called The Game, Il Gioco, and is an amazing way to describe the technological transformation of the last 25 years. Alessandro Baricco is a writer of novels, but also an intellectual. Is a great book that I really I absolutely recommend. So The Game, and it talks about different things: the computer, the how smartphones and app and the internet, they are creating a new social postures. They are changing our life. The past of the future of technology. It's really a great book, staying in the field, of technology. And if I have to be poetic, I suggest I can recommend a movie. I recommend to watch a movie which is 8 Enough by Federico Fellini.
Okay.
If you didn't watch it, you have to do. It's a super poetic movie about human being, and there is a structure which is depicted in the movie, which is called the spaceship, that also influenced one of my projects, which is called the Cloud Bridge. It is something that really inspired me when I was younger. But let's say it's a very poetic movie about the condition of creative people.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Highly
That fascinates me.
I haven't watched it, so
we'll have to watch it.
I'll cover back.
It's considered one from different magazines. Is in the top 10, in every top 10 of the best movies and etc. 8 Enough,
okay.
8 Enough by Federico Fellini.
8 Enough. Okay, we have to remember that.
I recommend it.
We're going to make a list of all the recommendations from everybody and then send it around, because there were some really good ones today.
Cool.
Then thank you very much, Arturo.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thank you so much.
You're always welcome back. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Yes. Have a good Sunday. Bye.
So here we are with
True.
We did over 4 hours live stream. Thank you very much for all the people that managed to join us live on a Sunday, and thank you very much to the people that are going to listen to this or watch it. I think it's a important milestone, getting into the big numbered podcast over 100. And
thank you to our guests as well for bringing the vibe, the sunglasses.
All of them, not only the
energy,
one that were
everybody. Yes.
All of them, every single guest that has been in the first 100 episode has been important, especially the first one that gave us trust. And stick around for more. We'll be delivering.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. And have a good Sunday.